16th episode of the 5th series, Thomas, Percy and Old Slowcoach introduces us to a brand new rolling stock character, that being Old Slowcoach. Thomas, James and Percy look up at the sky early one morning. Thomas says that all the villagers of Sodor are happier when springtime comes, but James complains about the hard work he has been given, especially the jobs on the coastal run he had been running on lately. Percy tells him that the Fat Controller wants everything to be ready for the holidays and the salty air makes him feel good. James angrily laughs and prefers being in the countryside instead, before leaving the shed to collect his goods train from the docks. Thomas and Percy then leave the sheds to take some empty trucks to the scrapyard. When they finish their job, they discover an old coach there. She looks very dirty and sad, saying that she is not useful anymore and only has mice to ride in her despite being in good condition. The yard manager arrives and is asked by Percy's driver about the coach, whose name is Old Slowcoach and is due to be broken up soon. Thomas and Percy are very upset, and despite the former feeling unsure how yet, he gladly promises to help her. Meanwhile, James is enjoying his journey with a few fuel tankers when there is trouble. One in his train is leaking fuel, causing the tankers to ignite from sparks bellowing from James's funnel. His driver immediately pulls the train into a siding and notifies the fire brigade. Thomas and Percy then arrive to the junction and the guard reveals what happened. Although it is quite a mess, the fire is soon extinguished. Percy teases James about being fired up in the countryside, rather than being in a literal way, but James points out that the leak in the tankers caused the fire. Thomas and Percy are now given the all-clear signal by a fireman to proceed on their journey at a reduced speed, while they feel sorry for James, who is now feeling very sad. Later that day, Thomas and Percy take on water when they find out that there is another fire at the workman's hut near them. The hut is evacuated, and while the two tank engines decide to go see how they can help, the fire engines arrive. However, there is a bigger problem. They are completely out of water from the previous fire. They know they cannot use seawater as it would clog their pumping apparatus, so the firefighters are forced to let the hut burn, until Thomas suggests that they use the water from his and Percy's tanks. The plan works well and the fire is soon put out, but the workman's hut is completely destroyed. A foreman arrives and worries about housing for the men and says that they cannot sleep on the beach. So Percy comes up with the idea of using Old Slowcoach as the workman's new hut. The crews then phone the Fat Controller, who agrees to the idea. Old Slowcoach is cleaned up, repainted and restored and feels splendid. Thomas and Percy collect her and she sets off happily for her new life for the workman. They all agree that there is nothing old or slow about her and she will always be really useful. Old Slowcoach is a brand new addition to the rolling stock on the island of Sodor. After being saved from the scrapyard, she was delighted to have a second chance in life, and she never took it for granted. She is a happy railway coach with a polite spirit to all the engines, especially Thomas and Percy, who saved her. Whether she is a hut for the workmen or a coach for passengers, Old Slowcoach is just delighted to be really useful indeed. She is based on the diagram E35 Falmouth Coupe TRI brake coach, built in 1893 for the Great Western Railway. An Old Slowcoach is one of the most beautiful bits of rolling stock I've seen in the TV series. She just looks so elegant because of her design that was based on a Great Western Railway coach from the 1800s, especially with her Great Western Railway chocolate and cream livery. She's just so beautiful and I'm honestly surprised they never used her for a major role again in the TV series after Series 5. The episode also marks the first time that we get to see the firefighting brigade of Sodor. And yes, it is fun to put Fireman Sam music over the clips of the fire engines on Sodor.
He's always on the scene, Fireman Sam, and his engine's bright and clean. Fireman Sam, you cannot ignore. Sam is the hero next door.
This is the first time we see firefighters on Sodor tackle fires on the island. And as if one fire wasn't enough, we get to see them put out 2 fires. The second one with the help of Thomas and Percy. And that Firefighter theme by O Donnell and Jr. Campbell is another one of the best themes I've ever heard for the TV series. Once again being a mixture of James's theme as well as a brand new theme created exclusively for the episode. And having done research for this episode, I found out that elements of the magazine stories Fire and the Carriage Cafe are used for this episode. magazine stories that were once again written by Andrew Brenner. And I really like that they used Thomas, Percy and James for this episode, since a lot of the posters and merchandise of the TV series often has the three on the main covers. And it always puts me in mind of those fuel tankers next to Bristol Temple Mead Station back home. It's just always a delight to see these three share the screen together. You could say that Thomas, Percy and Old Slow Coach is a combination of an action-packed episode and a slice-of-life episode, with Thomas and Percy saving Old Slow Coach from scrap being the slice-of-life aspect of the episode, and both fires occurring on the railway being the action-packed aspect. It's definitely a great breath of fresh air from the previous action-packed episodes we've had recently, and it introduces us to one of my favourite rolling stock characters for the TV series that really should have gotten more appearances than she did. But like most of the new characters for Series 5, she was lucky enough to get another appearance later on in the series, as well as tons of merchandise. It's a lovely episode that I definitely recommend checking out if you haven't seen it for years or at all. It's a fun introduction to one of the most elegant and beautiful characters in the TV series, and you'll get some excitement watching the fires in the episode. It's a great mix of action-packed and slice of life. Definitely worth watching again and again and again.